Hi everyone. It's great to be here again. I'm super excited we're doing this. Um, yes, because it's election period in Nigeria, and it's like all conversations are tending towards the election, and obviously we as gender specialists, gender advocates, we are also concerned about the role women are playing, Nigerian women are playing in terms of like the upcoming general elections. So yes, my name is Kende, and I'm happy to be doing this again. I have someone so super exciting as guest today in person of Bushra. Um, Bushrah Balogun is there with us to share insight with us on women's role in the coming 2023 Nigeria elections. So before I begin with, I think I should probably introduce us to the Girls for Leadership Initiative. I know a number of our followers today already have an idea of who we are and what we do. So we're a non-governmental organization in Nigeria. Our focus is to empower generation of future female leaders, and our mantra is to see that we have a Nigeria that provides environment for women to thrive. And yes, so all of our programs and agenda has been around this thematic area, and we're excited to be kicking off our election series, particularly touchlighting the role women are playing in the forthcoming elections. So it's my pleasure to have you here, Bushra. Hi, Bushra. Can you introduce yourself and say hi to
Hi. Hi, Kende. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be spending my evening with you. It's evening in Nigeria. I don't know what time it is there. My name is Bushra Balogun. I'm a public servant. I currently work with Kaduna State Government. I'm an aspiring political leader. I have a keen interest in politics, public policy, public service, and gender advocacy. What else? I today I'll be talking about the role of women as a gender advocate and someone that is very passionate about seeing women in politics and not just seeing them in politics and having more women in governance. Thank you, Katie, for having me on your platform.
Thank you so much, Bushra. We're super excited to be doing this with you. I know you are not only just gender rights advocates who is interested in seeing women excel in all phases. You are also someone who is very passionate about the political system in Nigeria. I know you have like a lot of experience in this regard, and you as a gender advocate is also in the mission of trying to ensure that women are evenly represented. So kudos with all you do. We see you and we appreciate you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Now Vishal, let's start with, we know like that a lot of things that are currently ongoing, particularly as it's regarding the socio-political economic system in Nigeria right now. It's not really so pleasing, particularly for people who are in the middle and lower class. I mean, there are a lot of struggle in terms of cash, getting cash to make living on a daily basis. And you know the situation when it comes to our cashless policy. It's not like up to that standard yet. And then we also have the issue of fuel scarcity and the prices and etc. I mean, there are a lot of things that are happening right now. We hear in the news every day that they are boycotting banks and places. I mean, rioting in some part of Lagos, in some parts of Ogun State, in Ibadan, and etc. So I think we should kick off the conversation from there. What's it looking like? I mean, election is less than, it's about a week. So by this time next week, we're going to the pool or on Saturday to cast our vote. So what's the like the what's it looking like now? Election is fast approaching and we're having all of this. So what's it telling us? Is it telling us to make the right choice? Is it like this is now the time to step up our game? I mean, you as a political um entity, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Kendi. Actually, there's really a lot going on in Nigeria right now, and you, of course, you mentioned quite a couple of them. And the thing is, everything is actually happening at the same time, and so it's actually making the effect very worse on people. People are really bearing the brunt, and people are not literally finding it easy. Imagine you want to get fuel, you don't even have the cash to get the fuel in the first place. Getting the phone itself is a big problem because you have to go to the filling station to queue. Access to the fuel itself alone is problem. Then the pricing is also there. The pricing is not what it used to be. So there's just a whole lot going on at the same time. And as much as we always like to think Nigerians are resilient people, Nigerians can bear, we actually were strong people. Sometimes, at least, we try to always get along with some of these issues and bear these challenges and see how we can come out of it. But sincerely, I think for any society, this is just too much to deal with at the same time. And of course, at the center of this is the government. Let's even put the politicking aside now. So now this is the government who is saying that yes, we should go through with this because they are thinking some of these policies needs to be implemented. But in my own opinion, fine, these are policies that should go. These are good policies, but at the same time, when you tend to do the good thing at the wrong time, then it makes the whole thing wrong. This is my opinion. Because I don't see why you look at the situation now and you bring so much pressure on people, even without election coming up. It's not an ideal situation for anybody to live in. To say you have money, you don't have access to your money. You see different clips across social media, people crying, people threatening bankers, people stripping naked in the banking hall just to get their money. People are stranded. Of course, we already have no, we have economic crisis. It's not as if people are really buoyant. I'm sure you're aware of the statistics of our poverty index statistics and how people are still struggling to get by with the economy. Do you understand? Then you now put this whole thing on top. So for me, I think it's actually too much for people to bear. You get, and to say we have an economy, we run an economy that is largely informal. This is actually very easy if probably you have an economy where the large chunk of the populace, of course, are probably have access to internet service, have access to phones. There are still very remote places that do not even have internet service at all. Part of the problem of the project we did here in Kaduna, of course, we really have to go to do this conditional cash transfer. And you hear how they have to go to these very remote villages. Do you understand? And see, so these are places that they don't have network. They don't have network. At times you wonder if civilization gotten to this place in this era. I've actually been part of the group that have had to go and monitor some health interventions as regards health.
Hi, Bushra. Okay, I think we lost Bushra for some minutes at the network issues. I mean, this is just an evidence of what's like really happening right now, and because we don't have like stable or very reliable internet connections for the cashless policy that the of course the Nigerian government are trying to ensure. But I mean, these things are supposed to be in place to make these policies really work. So if we're having issues like this, we don't even have stable electricity and stuff like that, and we're pushing forward for some policies that necessarily have to be pre uh, have to come after some other like infrastructures, and I think we're getting it all wrong. Yeah, so I cannot like um agree less of what Bushra has mentioned earlier on. This is like the case that we are currently seeing Nigeria go through, and this is why this election is like very important to um, every patriotic Nigerian. I mean, this election is all that we have to sort of like make things right. So we need to vote in leaders that truly, truly are passionate about making changes to the Nigerian system, both social, economic, political, in all ramifications, to ensure that the common man like is enjoying the dividends of true democracy. And so we are looking at the role of women in the forthcoming election. So before Bushra joins in, I might just want to create some sort of like I might just want to state some facts relating to women's participation in terms of electoral processes. So it's no news that we as a country are not performing well when it comes to gender parity in representation, even when a large percentage of women are always, noted to if actively participate during electoral um, periods, like in voting. So we have like a commensurate number of women who go to the polling unit to vote. But at the end of the day, we have less women in political offices. So there are a lot of issues with regards to the cultural perception of women in political positions. But aside this, the 2023 general elections in Nigeria is seeing even less women candidacy from the previous election held last 4 years. So the outcome is tending towards even having lesser women as political actors by the end of the 2023 general election. So it's not like something that will come as a surprise, because obviously if you have quite a little to what we've been having before as with female candidacy in the electoral race, obviously we'll have even lesser women eventually emerging as political actors occupying political offices after the 2023 elections. So majorly we'll be discussing quite a number of these issues. What should women be doing as at now? What should Nigerian women, are we ready to make that positive leap? Are we ready to make the change? Does this change, can it start from us as women in Nigeria? So these are kind of conversations that we'll be looking at today, to sort of like put into the first, like, things that we need to know and things that we need to do to ensure that we have a positive result at the end of the day. I wouldn't know if Bushra is still yet able to join in. I'm not sure Bushra is yet able to join in, but it's been a very interesting conversation, starting with the social, political, economic situation currently happening in Nigeria right now, which is not a pleasing one to the ears, which is not a pleasing one to the sides. But we are hopeful that after the 2023 general elections, stability, normalcy, good governance, all that we hope for Nigeria will begin to play out, as much as we do our civic responsibility of voting in those persons who would believe can make the change for us. So this is what we as the Girls for Leadership Initiative are advocating for right now. If you are listening and you have your permanent voters card, please, it is necessary that you go out there to cast your vote for who you believe in, who you believe in to be able to make those changes that is required. Look through the manifesto of each candidate. What do they present? Are they putting forward something that would make the right changes for us as not only women in Nigeria? We are talking about the general populace. We're talking about women. We're talking about men. We're talking about children. We're talking about the yeah. So we have Bushra join us back. Thank you, Bushra. Good to have you back. Hi.
What happened? You just disappeared.
Yeah, I guess your network went bad a bit. I mean, it just shows that there are a lot of structural. Yeah, I mean, in terms of what we need to do as a nation. I mean, if we're pushing forward for cashless policy, do we have the structures in place to back this? I mean, do we have like internet connections that are very stable, that when you sort of like want to make payments online, you don't get, the bullshit and stuffs like that. These are things that I think the government needs to, look into, and I hope that, our incoming government would, put as forefront in policy implementation, and not just what we're having today. So I'm going to give you the floor, Bushra, to, kick off from where you stopped. Hi, Bushra, can you hear me? Hello. Hi, Bushra, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
Kenny, I'm here. I can hear you. I'm
Yes.
here.
So, Bushra, you have the floor now.
Sorry, I didn't get your last question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Bushra. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I didn't get your last question. You sort of went off a bit due to the internet, the poor internet connection. So I didn't hear your last question. What was the last thing you wanted me to speak
Yeah.
to?
Okay, so Bushra, I think we can move on to, analysis of the 2023 general elections. What do you see women doing? Do you have like like your what do you think would boil out? What do you see women doing in preparing for the 2023 general elections, and what do you think will boil out at the end of the day?
For me, I think this election for me really stands out in terms of the dynamics of the whole electionary process, in terms of how young people are really involved, and in fact, in terms of how women particularly are taking up different roles as we see in different political parties. I think now more than ever, women are becoming more aware. The understanding that for us to get what we want, we need to be part of the process. And being part of the process doesn't mean that you have to necessarily run for office. No, there's a lot of things you can do. You can decide to join a political party. You can decide to just be on the sideline campaigning. You can decide to join the mobilization, organizing. There's just a whole lot to do, and especially when the digital era now, where social media is a veritable tool now, it's a veritable tool now that is being used in the campaign process. So you see women also taking up, taking using some of these devices to also to join in the campaign. TikTok, Twitter. Some of them are activists. For me, I'm really happy that women are getting involved, women are engaged. In fact, some of the loudest voices I see on social media, especially on Twitter, when I go with all the banters, are women. I'm like, okay, yeah. Do you understand? I like what is happening. We have young women leading some of these voices. You have women, going for debates on TV. They are more outspoken, they are more bold. So for me, that is really that's a progress we've made there. I know women that join. I know support groups, or even local women, especially care. I see them, local women groups, bringing themselves together, saying that they want to get involved. As much as they don't have, even if it's not for, they don't have probably a political candidates really, but they just tell you they want to do something. And there are some of them that belong to a party, they have support group, they are canvassing for votes, they are lobbying for votes. At least they are getting involved. And I think for me, that's the progress we're making there. The more women get involved, the more they understand the system. Because you can't stay at the back and keep talking about what you don't know. I keep complaining about how we're not being involved, how they're not carrying us along if you don't want to come into the system. So for us to even understand what the political landscape entails, it means we have to commit to joining this system, understanding what the system, understand the intricacies and the nitty-gritties of this system, understand what political structure is, understand what political party wants, do you get? And that way, we begin to empower and embolden ourselves the more. And you never can tell. Some of these women now, they're actually out there doing doing some of these campaigning activities and politicking. before you know it, some of them are already aware of some of these activities because they are beginning to go to town hall meetings, they're going for political meetings. Do you understand? It entails them making research, campaigning for each advocates. It also entails them campaigning for political candidates and all that. So with that, I think they're becoming more informed about what politics is about. They're becoming more aware and they're becoming more involved in the system. You never can tell. In the nearest future, you see some of them coming to say, okay, now, yeah, now I'm part of the system. I understand what it's about. They get emboldened to say, yes, now I'm confident. I want to run. I want to throw my heart in the ring, and I also want to be part of the system. I don't want to be at the side of campaigning anymore. I don't want to be at the sideline anymore. I want to be at the forefront now. I want to champion I want to champion some of these women cause. I also want to be a representative of women in politics. I want to be out there. I want to be an epitome of women in leadership for other women to follow and also encourage other women to come into the system. So for me, I think I'm really glad to see that more people, especially young women, are really getting involved, and also the older ones, and also we're sort of having some intergenerational synergy now in terms of political of the politicking, because at the end of the day, some of them belong to political parties, and of course their political parties have certain interests. It means they don't have a choice, they just have to work together. So that way we're also collaborating more, and the more we collaborate, the more we're able to build a strong force. And it means that in future, if I want to do something, I already know that, okay, let's say we have three major political party now out of the 18, the Labour Party, the PDP, and the APC. So I know young people, young women, that some of them they're in the APC, they're in the PDP, they're in the LP, they are doing well. And it means that in future, if some of them want to do anything, they can walk up to me to say, oh yes, I know Bushra. Bushra is Busha is into politics. She can help me with this. Okay, I know so and so, but I know Kenny. Kenny wants to run for this. Kenny can meet me to say, okay, help me with that. And that way, we're going to be, we're going to have this collective power to be able to push ourselves forward and launch ourselves into the political space and begin to see how we can build our numbers within the political landscape.
Thank you so much, Bushra. I'm so happy to hear that um, we are making progress in terms of women's active participation in politics. I mean, it's different from what we've experienced in time past, particularly young women. Let's emphasize that young women,
Yeah.
because sometimes if we're not using the intersectional approach to understanding how different age groups relate or participate in the political process, we may be misleading. So thank you for establishing that fact. And one comment, we have two comments on our LinkedIn channel from Bolaji Wahab. He said every election is important, and I agree with that. There is no one that's less important to the other. We also have another comment from Fatia Adetola. She said she agreed with your comments. She said awareness has certainly improved. Oh, okay, we're happy with that. So now that we've been able to, you know, establish the fact that truly awareness has improved from what it was in the last electoral year. What do you see boiling out this time around? I mean, do we like the foremost or the past experience has been that we have quite a number of women who go to the polling units, although they are like quite the older group of women, the ages that go to the polling unit to vote. So this time, do you think we'll have more younger women go to the polling unit to vote? Like yourself, like myself, our age group, do you see like this age group going to the poll right at this time to cast our votes as women, in Nigeria, taking our own future in our hands? So do you see that happening in the 2023 elections?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Kenny?
Yes, I can hear you now. Quiet, please.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. If there's one thing I mentioned earlier that this election seems to be very very different. It seems to be very unique. And like I said earlier, I like it because it seems to be like the young people, young persons of Nigeria are now beginning to understand the power they built. They now understand the power of numbers in democracy and how much they can really change. And for me, I want to believe this is some sort of offshoot of the NSAS and the weight we're able to pull. So it made us very aware of the power we have and how much we can how much we can actually achieve. Be able to put our heads together. Notwithstanding that we're not having issues along religious and ethnic fault lines, but at the same time, you see young people gathering, bringing themselves together to say the time is now. We have to make it. We have to make a difference. We have to use our voice. We have to use our resources. You see them going out and mass, even doing campaigns. So for me now, I think it's not even about the women alone anymore. It's not about young women alone. It's the fact that our generation is now awake to the realities of what's on ground, and we're beginning to take it. Yes, we want to take our destiny into our hands, hence want to decide on what the future will be like for ourselves and for our children. Regardless of which political party you're supporting, get everybody is up and doing. Everybody wants to get involved. Yeah, even on your WhatsApp status, you see people talking about it. Even we you see women contributing. You understand, on the street, see them talking about it. So for me, I'm just glad that there's this heat of this wave rather of political awareness and civic consciousness that has hit our polity now, and everybody wants to get involved. Men, women, old, young, everybody just wants to be part of this. And for me, I think that itself is something we should be proud of. That yes, as young people, we are active now and we're ready to be part of this. And like I said, who knows? From here on, we don't know what might happen in the next 4 years. I want to believe that this is just the first step. Yeah, it's probably to better results to be seen, because the moment you're aware of something, it means you want to you're poised now to take action. You want to do something about it, right? So now that people are aware, people know what the issues are, people want to get involved. I want to believe probably come next election, or probably in the next 2, 3 election cycles we'll be having, we'll have more people, more young people, more young women coming out to say, you know what, yes, we want to be part of this too. Enough of us just saying we want to support. We also want to be knowing that we already have a deficit of women in politics in Nigeria. Knowing what that gap is and what the data says about our representation of women in leadership. So I want to believe that the outcome of this in the long term will be something worthwhile and very encouraging in terms of seeing more young women come into the political space and also be part of the governing and decision making processes.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with your submission. This is more than just talking about women, it's about the general populace as a whole, because everything we're doing right now is, in one way or the other, going to affect us as a country. So it's not just one group, it's a general thing. Sorry. I think I love saying global. It's now a
Sorry,
national.
Penny, please excuse me, please. I think the power has just been restored, so I'd like to switch on my bulb.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. That's totally fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I totally do agree with you, Bushra. And thank you for
Yes, I'm back now.
stating. Okay, great. Yeah. So thank you for stating that. Like the first part you mentioned is awareness, and from awareness there's changes. So if you're not even aware that you need to make some changes, then it's not easy to make that change. So we're thankful that there's more awareness. People now know that it's not um the election result is already predetermined. It's you. There's power in the your vote. So I love that consciousness that is happening around Nigeria right now. So this takes me to my next question and the next point of this conversation, which is taking a sneak into what the outcome of the general election is likely to have on women's representation in Nigeria. So, judging from the statistics that we have, I think I mentioned this earlier on when you were away. Is that from statistics we have fewer number of women candidacy running for the 2023 general election than 2019 when compared to we have lesser when compared to 2019. So obviously what that will translate if we're going logically is that women have lesser women in the political positions this time. So what do you think is that what would you foresee to be the aftermath of that? Or are you positive that despite having like fewer female candidates this time, it is possible that we have um, quite a number of women that are going to be voted into offices, particularly when we're looking at the House of Rep?
Okay, so I like to say I'm positive, and these are my reasons. Because of course we have the elective and the appointed positions, and these are what make the indices that make up the number of women who have in governance generally. Because of course, moving away from politics to move into governance. So at times it happens that we may always we might eventually have more women in governance than politics, which for me I still like to count as a
Hi, Bushra, can you hear me?
can you hear me?
Yes, I think
Okay,
you
okay.
went off for a few
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, sorry. So as I was saying, of course, there's the appointive and there's the elective. So, in terms of the elective, of course, like you said, like you rightly said, the statistics is already low, and the eventuality of the elect.
Hi, Bushra. Okay, I think we lost Bushra. Um, okay. Okay, why Bushra is trying to reconnect? Um, I'll just give us a quick um, intro into what Girls for Leadership does to sort of like address some of these issues that we've mentioned across board. So, like I initially introduced, we are a non-governmental organization. Our effort is to ensure that we inspire generation of female leaders, and we believe catching them young is the right approach to make for equal representation in Nigeria at the long run. So most often, our group of target audience are young women, are girls, are people who we believe have the capacity to make changes in their society. So we have groups of executive volunteers. We also have group of the general volunteers who together we're trying to make positive impact in our societies on the long run. So part of our programs is to ensure that we have um, advocacy campaigns that sort of touch light on issues that needs readdressing and reorientation for us to make the changes that we need as individuals in Nigeria, in Africa, and on a global spectrum. We also indulge in several other programs that seeks to address the challenges that women and girls faces. So most often we have issues of period poverty. We have issues of gender-based violence. We have quite a number of these challenges that are peculiar to women. So a number of our programs are also tailored across addressing these issues to ensure that women are not limited by that circumstances around them to become the leaders that they aspire to be. So that's a brief intro to most of our programs and activities at Girls for Leadership Initiative. So if you're watching us right now, if you want to be member of our volunteering team, send us a message on our social media platforms, either on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, or Instagram, showing your interest to sort of like partake in our programs and activities. And obviously, our volunteering member in charge of that would reach out to you and would take you through the step to becoming a volunteering member with us. So we in subsequent times we're also going to be having a lot of conversation around the Nigeria 2023 elections. It's not just prior to the election that we need to make conversations relating to women's role. We also need to discuss the analysis of the Nigerian 2023 elections, which we are optimistic would be for the best. So this is like a shout out to everyone who is listening to me right now, and you have done the needful by having your voters card. Come 25th of February, please go out there to cast your vote. And before you cast a vote, ensure that you understand the manifesto of your candidates and you see this as the next way for Nigeria to move as a country. Because whatever decision that we're making right now is going to be a determining factor to where we'll be in the next 4 years. And we don't want to miss it, right? It's best for us to prepare ahead and not miss the right step right now than going into it and regretting if we had not. And I want to reemphasize this as much as I'm sure that um, sensitization process has increased over time. I just want to reemphasize this that your votes count. Your votes count. There's power in number. Nigeria is practicing democracy, and so please and please ensure to go cast your votes. It is what you have. It is the power you have as an electorate. It is the power that you have as a citizen of Nigeria. It is the power that you have to make the right decision. Every decision that you make right now is one way or the other going to be a contributing factor to your future, particularly for the young generation, for persons like ourselves that we are we are trying to ensure that we have a better Nigeria, a better Africa, and on a global spectrum, a better space for everyone to live and thrive. I don't know if Bushra is back here on the platform right now. She's having a bit of network issues, but it's been an exciting conversation with Bushra. Bushra is an aspiring political leader. She's a public servant and she's equally a gender rights advocate. She has played predominantly in the Nigerian political ecosystem. She understands the terrain, and she's better suited to talk about issues when it comes to women engagement in electoral processes. Hi, Bushra. If you have any questions, please feel free to ensure you drop your comments either on LinkedIn or on Facebook. We're going to address your questions. If we're unable to address it on this um, live streaming conversation, it's definitely worthwhile to send to Bushra, and she's going to reply you as soon as possible. While we wait for Bushra for the next 2 minutes, we'll just try as much as possible to keep you lively with our background music. Enjoy.
Sometimes it's good for the right pay. Baby, make a fire you with my machine guns. 16 rounds. I be King Kong. Girl, you make a sample you my brand new song. La la la. Oh, girl, I wanna be with you. But you know they got enough time for me. I wanna live with you. I can't see the way I can let go. But you know, not easy to come pass up. Man, them so far to find your love. Baby, never know they come pass up. Man, them so far to find your love. But you never know they come pass up. Man, them so far to find your love. But you never know they come pass up. Man, them so far to find your love. Senorita, mamacita, body bad and the grace for your features. Nice to meet you, Jimmy Seeker. Only wanna deceive on my future. Oh, I wanna teach your body a thing or two. If you know the things you do, this love is no be joke, no April fool. Yeah, yeah, gosh, my boy, you're second. Five star, yeah, come on, make a taquina, oh my, I need my elbows, no more. All of my guys are thugs, but you are rude. Me, if you wanna give it up, let's drop them. Five star, oh, your love. All of the guys, they want you. Oh my, I need my elbows, no more. I know that I got you. And it never been what we've been through. You're my obsession. When I put you in a vice, shawty come right in my backseat. Would you tell me what you want, what you fancy? Waiting on my right like I said with you. But you know they got enough time for me. I wanna live with you.
Okay.
See the way I can let
So it's been a very interesting conversation so far, looking into the Nigeria 2023 election series, um, with specific interest on women's role in the 2023 Nigerian elections. And it's been a pleasure to have Bushra join us today. Bushra Temitokwe Balogun is a public servant. She is a program manager, a business enthusiast, a gender advocate, and obviously she's also a mental health counselor. She aspires to be a global citizen and a leader of politics, business, and politics. Our work specifically focuses on public policy, politics, gender equality, social inclusion, public speaking, and good governance. Bushra also creates content and manages projects as a consultant. Bushra is vast and experienced when it comes to being a young leader. She belongs to a wide network of global youth champions. She's a Kashim Ibrahim Fellow, one champion, UN Women Young Leader. She was also a plaque legislative intern. Um, Bushra was also part of the Open Minds Young Voices Youth Champion. It's interesting to note is that Bushra was recognized as one of the 2020 100 most influential young people by Opportunity Hub. That's quite a very interesting uh, profile to read there, Bushra. It's nice to have you back, Bushra. I know it's not been a very smooth a very smooth one when it comes to the yeah. It's very much understandable, but it's great to have you back. So you have the floor, Bushra.
Thank you so much, and I must sincerely apologize to the audience. This is just beyond me. In fact, I had to find a way to change my internet service. I've been swapping to see which is better. So I'm really, really sorry for that break. Sorry, I'm back now. So yeah, I think we can take off from where I stopped. I guess before I went off, I was talking about what again? Kenny.
Hi, Bushra.
Before I went off, what was it? What before I went off? What was it
I mean,
we're talking
we were
about?
discussing a number of things. I mean, so particularly, I think what I could remember is we're talking about women in governance and women in the political sphere. Like how
Okay, yeah, yeah, I
those
remember,
two,
I remember.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about the outcome of yes, and the outcome of the election and how much what will be the outcome with the current statistics of women we have. And
yeah.
that's okay, as I was explaining earlier, Already, I know the number is low, but I still want to believe we might have a positive, we might have an encouraging number, because if you look at the dynamics of this election, there's a power of political party and their power of candidates. So it depends on the probably the political party leaning of that candidate. If you're lucky, you're actually in a particular, probably you find yourself in a particular area, a particular position probably where certain political parties have an upper hand. Probably such candidates might benefit and leverage from the popularity and dominance of such political parties in such area, and they might emerge. So I want to believe they might be lucky. But of course, in the real sense of it, we already know how it is, how it has always been in terms of the struggle of women getting elected. Of course, we have a lot of barrier, the structural barrier, which has not changed really. It's still there till today. We still see it. Of course, we just do what the much we can do is try to do so much advocacy. We have a lot of these NGOs and CFOs talking about it, and spreading the message and encouraging people, advocating for more women in politics, encouraging women to vote, encouraging women to also to vote and be voted for. So yes, let's be hopeful that we might probably see a slight change in terms of an increase in the number, possibly probably leveraging on some of the political party influence. And also, it depends on the candidate again. And also, this election, something that will also be very peculiar in this election is the power of the candidates. You might actually find some areas where probably the candidates there, even if the candidate is a female, might probably have the upper hand. And that is why this brings me to why I encourage people to please start as early as you can. Join a political party. So I think there's one thing I've come to realize with Nigerians. There's this self-righteous attitude of no, politics is bad, I don't want to join politics, I'm not going to be involved. But I'm sorry, politics determine every aspect of your life. And I think it's politics is something that has been here from time immemorial, and it's something we're going to live with forever and ever. Politics happen in our homes, it happens in our offices, it happens in our businesses, it happens everywhere. So if you say I don't want to join the fine, decide where the political party you want to join. It doesn't have to be, excuse me, the big political party that have names. It could be the upcoming one. Just put yourself somewhere. If you feel certain political parties have ideologies that does not align with your own with your own self beliefs, with your own ideology, you can, of course, you can always choose. And we have 18 currently on the ballot, so why not pick one of them and join? And join does not mean you're just joining. Join and be active. It means you're going for town hall meetings, you're going for ward level event. You're going for party activities. No, the other day I saw one of my there's of course I was a student union activism when I was in school. Yes, of course, that was when my political, my interest in politics started from. Yeah, so I started politics right from my student union government days at the university. And then I remember when we pioneered the Nigerian Female Student Association of Nigeria. That was way back in 2015 or six, yeah, I think thereabouts. Yeah, so there was a couple of us female representatives from different schools that come together to pioneer the association. Of course, the association still exists now, and I remember how, of course, we'll come together, to just encourage ourselves. But for the platform still exists for every female leader that's elected in a school, probably elected as it could be SRC, it could be as a vice president, it could be the president. Any position, will bring them on board on that platform. So on that platform, we try to encourage ourselves. We just create that umbrella where we're able to bring ourselves together, push ourselves, encourage ourselves, and all. So one of them, of course, she's also after school. She's also graduated. She's moved into mainstream politics. And the other day, I saw her. She belongs to one of the popular political parties, and I saw her the other day how No, she was how active she's been now at her grassroots. She's very, she's getting strong by the day. She's canvassing, she's canvassing. She has her own support group already. When they have any events in their state, she's I'm like, whoa. And I was really, really impressed. I was happy, like, yeah, come on. It might not be a political party that probably everyone wants or something. But the fact is, whether you like it or not, this person is already building a portfolio. Do you understand? And she's already creating that niche for herself. So now you cannot go to her state or to her ward level, or you can't go to a local government and tell you they don't know who she is. So imagine someone 10 years, imagine in 10 years time, and this lady has become so strong that they know her as a woman in politics. She has become so strong. She has gained a lot of ground, a lot of influence, and you just come in at that time thinking all because you're knowledgeable, you're smart, you're this, you're that, and you think you just want to come and it will be hard for you to actually compete with that kind of person. Do you understand? And actually, to compete with that kind of person and say you want to take up some tradition. No, because they trust this person more. That's why they tell you at times politics is local, politics are the grassroots. So people also want to trust you. They want to familiarize themselves with you. And everybody, the one thing I've got, I'm also involved in the current politicking going on. Of course, I'm just someone at the background. I'm involved in politics. So I go to some of these, interact with some of these grassroots people, when we bring them together. And you could actually hear from them. Everybody wants to be valid, everybody wants to be relevant, everybody wants to be carried along. They just want to know that, okay. Some people, just by meeting them and talking to them, you can convince them on yeah, you can actually convince them and change their mind. I just realized there's some voters that are really they're still undecided. We have a lot of people that are still undecided. You get by meeting with them and speaking with them, you get to convince them and tell them why they should vote for. They will ask you their questions. Why do you want to know? You're able to answer that question, and that way you cannot go back to that. I can't go back to that committee tomorrow and tell you they don't know me. And that's how it starts. So I want to urge young women to please get involved. It is not enough for us to say we want to campaign and all. It's fine, but I think it's high time we begin to take up this political position, because there's no way we want to achieve gender friendly policies. There's no way we want to push for decision making and policies and programs that actually that favors women. Programs or projects, of course, that would drive women empowerment. If we don't have enough women in in office to drive some of these things. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Bushra. This is like political participation 101. The basics. That's like the summary. Thank you so much for your submission. I totally agree with you 100%. I mean, it's not just about, knowing what to do. It's about getting involved in the activity, getting involved right in the action as a female who is interested in, forging ahead with politics in Nigeria. I'm just going to quickly read out a comment from my LinkedIn channel. So we have Fatia Detola commenting. He says, I think it's very important to bridge the gap indeed. She's talking about the gender equality gap. Um, However, she said, I also think it's important to address the capability. So it's not just about trying to ensure that we have more women, but to also address that we have women that are capable. I'm just trying to, like speak more to our comments here. Then she said bridging the gender gap is important, but beyond that, I believe in the training of these women. So and that's what Bushra is like re-emphasizing, that it is important for women to sort of participate from the grassroots level. And like Bushra already mentioned, there are also many non-governmental organizations and CSOs who are actively taking it as part of their mandate to sort of equip women who are interested in pursuing political careers, to ensure that they are equipped with the required skill sets and everything worthwhile to know to have like a very prosperous political career. So we have about 5 minutes more before the end of the session. I would just want Bushra to round off the session, by giving us like I know she had established what women need to do. I mean, in terms of this election that is coming up by next week, Saturday. What would be your advice for every woman out there? What do you think every woman should know right now about the upcoming, election? And we can also have that advice from you extend to other groups in Nigeria. Talk about the men, talk about young men, older men, and even the politicians themselves. What would be your word of advice as a patriotic Nigerian, a young woman who is like wanting for a future for Nigeria that is best?
Thank you, Kennedy. So I think I want to quickly speak to what Feta mentioned, and I'm sorry I didn't mention the capacity and competence because, of course, for me, above as much as I want women in politics, I'm not one of those people that think we should just put. I don't believe in tokenism. Don't put people there just because you want to have the numbers. Put people that have the capacity, that have the expertise, they have the experience, they have the character, put them in such position. But of course, I guess I assume that we by now I want to believe we have enough women with such credentials already on ground, just that they've not even been able to break that barrier and get into it. Yeah, but that is very, very key. Yeah, as we go to the polls next weekend, what is my message to Nigerians? Well, I would like to say your vote is your right. Your vote is your power. It's not enough for you to get your PVC. Please go out and vote. We do not want an issue of apathy. Because at the end of the day, we're happy that we have over 93 million plus registered voters. But please, we're pleading, go out and vote. Make your choice. This election, of course, is going to, like I said, it seems very different from what we'll be having, and it's going to determine a lot of things. So at least you can come out tomorrow to say yes. I was part of this. I was part of this system. I made my choice. I contributed to making it work. So please, I want to encourage everyone to go out and vote, and also vote properly. Vote properly. There's a lot of information out there that they're disseminating about how to vote properly, how to thumbprint the ballot, how to fold it so it doesn't become invalid. These are informations we need to focus on now as we go to the poll so that people are aware, and also for political parties, ensure that you educate your supporters on on the logos and the names of your of your political party of the choice you want them to vote, so they're not so they don't miss it and you don't lose out on your vote. And please, let's shun electoral violence. Let's shun it. Of course, I know that women had you. I don't think for
Okay, I think we lost Bushra for a few minutes now, few seconds. Yeah, just to also conclude on
yeah.
that path.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you're back. Exciting.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So as I was saying, let me wrap up. And please, let's stay safe. Look out for your friends, look out for your people. If possible, go together in groups, come back in groups, ensure you cast your vote. If you can stay for it to be counted, please do stay back, ensure it's counted, you get the results, and you go home in peace. Let's shun violence. Let's be our brothers and sisters keeper. I know that this election it's a very it seems to be a very serious experience, so we're able to make the right choice. And we hope at the end of the day, whoever is elected at least has the intention to do the welfare, the well-being, and the peace of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bushra. That's been a very rewarding 1 hour with you. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation. I'm sure everyone out there listening to us right now, they have taken your words. There is no electoral violence that is going to come up whatsoever. Everyone is going to vote wisely. It's vote wise and vote well and not fight. Thank you so much. So on this note, we call off today's session of our electoral series. Hopefully, we'll see you sometime again discussing about the Nigerian elections, the outcomes, and
Yeah,
analysis.
thank you for having me. I hope to be back sometime soon again. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.